October right now, and over the weekend, former President Donald Trump was acquitted in his second impeachment trial. Still, his future with the Republican Party remains to be seen.
Donald Trump is the most vibrant member of the Republican Party. The Trump movement is alive and well. People believe that he brought change to Washington.
The Republican Party is more than just one person. The Republican Party is about ideas. We need to look forward because the ideas of our party are more important now than ever.
We are turning to the experts again to help us figure out what this all means. CUNY Constitution and Law Professor Natale Velez and Political Science Professor from Fairleigh, Dickinson University, Dan Cassino. Good morning to both of you. Thanks for being here. Let's get to it this morning because the verdict was expected. No surprise here, right? But 7 Republicans did break from their party to vote to convict. Natale, let me begin with you on this, on why we didn't see more and what this means for those 7. Natale, I think you muted yourself, so just try to unmute your microphone there.
Okay.
There
no
you go.
surprise here, as you said, Dan, but certainly shocking. And the only surprise was that those 7 Republicans joined the Democrats, and that's historic, right? The first impeachment, determination that was bipartisan, that included votes of both parties to convict, but it certainly wasn't enough. And it's shocking and it's disappointing, given the evidence, the impressive presentation of the House managers and the evidence that was before the Senate. Again, many people said this was the conviction was the lack of conviction would be a foregone conclusion. Right. But it still is, I have to say on these facts, very disappointing. It's a sad day for constitutional accountability.
So let me talk to you, Dan, about the future in terms of elections. Seem to be a factor here for all those senators. Does history show that not voting to convict can help or hurt a senator moving forward in an election? Will there be fallout for those 7?
It doesn't seem like there'll be much fallout for those 7. The big reason for that is most of those 7 are already in very safe states. Probably the senator who stuck their neck out most is Lisa Murkowski of Alaska. She's from a very Republican state. She voted to convict, but she has faced really serious challenges in the past, and she's not at all worried about it. Actually, if we look at their constituency and how Republican or Democratic their constituency is, the senator who was bravest on this was actually a Democrat, Joe Manchin from West Virginia, who represents a very Republican state. So there's no one who really stuck their neck out, and that's what makes this expected and not shocking, is that senators voted, by and large, what their constituents wanted them to do. Regardless of what we think about Donald Trump, he's still very popular among Republicans, and Republicans are not going to vote to convict him.
So talking about that popularity with the impeachment trial behind him, right, the former president facing other legal issues, including criminal investigations in Georgia, right here in New York. So, Natale, could those legal troubles prevent him from running for office again if you're convicted of a crime on the local or federal level, state level?
Not necessarily, right? A conviction, someone could be convicted of a felony and still run for president, right? The Constitution doesn't explicitly prohibit that. One thing that's floating out there, though, is there's discussion of Section 3 of the 14th Amendment as a possibility for Congress to consider going forward. And I think we're hearing discussions of a 9/11 style commission to continue to investigate. Because remember, this is a serious infraction, right? This is a constitutional violation. There may be criminal charges. Those are going to take a long time to unwind and to figure out. There will have to be investigations. Unlike the Senate trial, they'll really have to go through with witnesses, with record, with, a serious investigation, both whether criminal and or civil actions that follow. But there is some discussion of whether or not there may be another option under the Constitution to hold some accountability here.
And Dan, the former president released a statement hinting at something ahead, right? Here's part of what he said. We'll throw it up there. Our historic, patriotic, and beautiful movement to make America great again has only just begun. In the months ahead, I have so much to share with you, and I look forward to continuing our incredible journey together to achieve American greatness for all of our people. What do you make of that?
Look, President Trump has already said he intends to be an active force in the 2022 midterms, basically campaigning against any Republicans he feels were not sufficiently deferring to him. And he does, at this point, as far as we can tell, intend to run in 2024. the difficulty for President Trump, of course, is maintaining relevance. He's not really part of the policy discussion going forward. And all President Trump has been talking about for the last several months is the stolen election, how the election was stolen from him, and how people need to support him. He's not really at this point offering policy provisions or policy ideas. This is going to be increasingly hard for him to maintain relevance, especially given that he's not on Facebook, he's not on Twitter, his big megaphones are gone.
Yeah, Twitter saying that he's banned permanently. Natalie, following the verdict, though, Senate leaders seem to be, on both sides of the aisle, saying the same thing. Here's Mitch McConnell and Chuck Schumer.
There's no question, none, that President Trump is practically and morally responsible for provoking the events of the day. No question about it. The people who stormed this building believed they were acting on the wishes and instructions of their president.
The vast majority of the Senate Republican caucus, including the Republican leader, voted to acquit former President Trump. The failure to convict Donald Trump will live as a vote of infamy in the history of the United States Senate.
So briefly here, Natalie, Mitch McConnell seemingly trying to thread the needle here with saying one thing, doing another. Did the timing and the date of the trial, right, after former President Trump left office, have anything to do with this?
When you say the timing and the date of the trial have anything to do with
Meaning
this,
after he left office, meaning it began after he was no longer a president.
Yeah, I mean, Mitch McConnell's treatment of this whole situation is nothing short of maddening for several reasons, right? That post-acquittal speech coming around and saying, oh, yes, I believe he was guilty and this was terrible. It's like, remember, McConnell was the one who prevented the trial while the president was still in office. He then comes in and says, well, the reason he is voting to acquit, even though he thinks the president is guilty, is because it's unconstitutional. Well, that argument was not available to him, right? The Senate voted on the constitutionality question and decided to move forward that there was jurisdiction. That meant, under the Senate's own rules, that they were to decide the matter on the merits, right? Mitch McConnell, of everybody, knows those Senate rules, right? So he knows that that argument that he was making isn't available to him. And so he really is trying to sort of hold on to power, have it both ways. And, it really is emblematic, I think, of the deep split within the GOP on whether to stay in the thrall of Donald Trump or whether to move on from that. But from a legal perspective, it was maddening.
We are out of time here, but Dan, I want to give you the last word here. Moving forward, is this still the party of President Trump, or is the GOP now going a different direction?
At this point, it is still the party of President Trump. They still have the opportunity to wean themselves from President Trump slowly but surely, but it's going to be up to the leaders in the party to decide if they have the courage and they have the wherewithal to do that.
Understood. Natalie and Dan, I appreciate you both being here this morning and appreciate both of your voices. Thank you very much.